Very good morning to all. We welcome you all to the physics webinar Stay Home, Enjoy Physics, jointly organized by the Indian Association of Physics Teachers, IAPT, RC7 Gujarat, Essence Tech, Department of Science and Technology, Government of Gujarat, and Gujarat Council on Science and Technology, Guj Course. We welcome you all to the series Lecture 1, Role of Computers in Physics Education by Dr. Tushar C. Pandya, Associate Professor, Department of Physics, St. Xavier's College, Autonomous, Ahmedabad. I now request Chintan to please introduce our today's speaker.
Yes. First of all, good morning, and it is my privilege to introduce our Dr. Tushar Pandya sir. Introducing sir very briefly, Dr. Tushar Pandya sir is an currently associate professor in the Department of Physics and Electronics, St. Xavier's College, Ahmedabad. Sir has also shouldered the responsibility as the head of that same department in the year from the year 2001 to 2007. Sir has obtained his PhD degree from Gujarat University, Ahmedabad, in the field of condensed matter physics, and Sir has authored several research papers on this subject. Sir has published more than 25 research papers in various national, international journals and conference proceedings, and also participated in international conferences. His current research interest is in the field of high pressure behavior of certain solids and nanomaterials for the determination of thermophysical and mechanical properties. Sir has 32 years of vast teaching experience and 17 years of research experience. Sir has very deep interest in teaching and writing about physics at undergraduate and even at high school level. My friend, sir is a recipient of very prestigious INSA Teachers Award for the year 2015. Sir is also, sir has been also awarded Summer Research Fellowship by Indian Academy of Sciences. He is a Secretary of Regional Council of IAPTRC 7 of Indian Association of Physics Teachers in the past term, and Fellow of Gujarat Science Academy. And Sir is currently actively engaged in popularizing science under the banner of Gujarat Science Academy and Indian Association of Physics Teachers. Sir is a former Senate member of Gujarat University and also officiated as a member of the Physics Board of Studies instituted by the Gujarat University. And to add this very brief introduction, I would also like to say that Sir has also mentored various international conferences of physics olympiads by their expertise. So by taking no much time, I would like to introduce our very active and dynamic professor of St. Xavier's College, Dr. Tushar Pandya sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much for your kind words, Chintan. Good morning, friends, the participants of the webinar and physics educators. I'm very happy to be here online, and it is a wonderful experience to be with young people, and I have special feelings. Friends, as you know that our entire nation is facing a big crisis because of corona spread. Entire government machinery and all organizations and NGOs are fighting battle against this corona. And because of that, we are in a lockdown mode. So in that lockdown mode, we are basically in educators. So we can activate and motivate our students. So in this connection, Indian Association of Physics Teachers Regional Council RC7, along with Gujarat Council of Science Technology Gujkos, Department of Science Technology, and the young team of Essence Tech, decided to organize a webinar which is called Stay Home and Enjoy Physics. And this particular series of webinars, we have invited eminent experts, and our basic intention is that they will motivate our students for e-learning and physics learning. So in this context, first of all, I would like to thank Regional Council RC7, Gujarat, as well as the Essence Tech for providing me an opportunity to interact with the young dynamic friends. And my special thanks to Essence Tech team, Harshal, Chintan, and the young team of Astronomica Club, which we organize for organizing this particular webinar. So my thanks to all people, all students. Friends, you know that the topic of my talk is basically role of computers in physics education. Friends, you know that physics is a very difficult subject people consider, and physics teaching and learning is also a very difficult task. Generally, it is found that majority of the students are not learning physics concept very properly in the classroom. They only prepare as far as your exam is concerned. So because their concepts are very poor, they are not able to participate, or they cannot compete in the national competitive examination. Because you see, those who are having MSc background or BSc background, they have to appear for various competitive examinations like a national graduate physics examinations, and we have NAT examination, there is a GATE examination, there is a JEST examinations, and people have to appear for various competitive examinations. But if your concepts are not proper, you will not be able to perform very well in this particular competitive examinations. So there are certain teachers, you know, that those teachers are, these people, these teachers will make, they will give you training, and they will try to help you to achieve the harmony between the physics learning and the approach of competitive examinations. It is very essential that when you learn physics, you have to learn physics by heart. You have to clear the concept. If your concepts are very, very clear, then you can appear in examinations and you can get very good score for a national competitive examinations. So my particular talk is related to how to make physics learning very interesting, and what is the role of computers in physics education, that I would like to explain. So let us start my session. Uh, you know that a brief outline, first of all, I would like to give you. I will first explain you what is the role of computers in physics education. Then I will explain a role of a physics teacher, and then we will have some computational exercise in physics which I have developed. This is the role of a physics teacher that we will see. And there are certain interactive simulation in physics and role of multimedia which I would like to demonstrate. And my intention is that I want to motivate my students so they can use a multimedia as well as the simulations in physics to understand the concept of physics. The main objective of the talk is to discuss the role of computers, to understand the physics, and to upgrade physics education and strengthen the science and technology. So my basic intention is to promote to promote the computers in physics education. And it is very important that the physics teacher, when he goes to the class, he has to explain the student, and he has to explain what is the role of computers in physics education. So now we will study step by step how you can use computer in physics learning as well as physics understanding. You see, first of all, a computer is basically now an unavoidable part of the physics education. And computers are used to analyze the data, visualize the data, communicate the results, and even run your experiment and monitor the equipment. These are the importance of computers. You see, you can analyze the data, you can run your experiment, you can monitor your experiment. So provided you know the computer programming and computer also, so computing can play an important part in advancing physics learning, and it will give students and teachers a more opportunities for feedback, reflections and revisions. This is a very important advantage when you use computers in the class. You will have a interaction, you have a close interaction with the students, and you can take their feedback and you can revise your topic also. So this is the advantage which I would like to mention, friends, that once you use your computers in the classroom, then you can have a very close interaction with the students and your class become very interesting. You know, people are facing, sometimes students are getting bored and they do not concentrate with the class, and ultimately you do not enjoy the class. So if you want to enjoy your class and if you want your class session very interactive, if you use computers in the classroom and show several exercises and show several illustrations and some examples with the help of computers, students will definitely enjoy the class, they will definitely attend your class and they will interact with you, your session will be more interactive. So friends, you know, you people know the characteristic of the computers, as you know that the computer's characteristic is that it's a speed, accuracy and reliability. You are familiar with this. But what I want to tell you is that you know that the speed, accuracy and reliability is very important. Suppose you are working with vectors, and if you have some problem where you want to calculate the magnitude of vectors, it is very easy. You can calculate the x component, y component, z component. You take the square of the components and ultimately you take a square root. It's simple. But suppose instead of, suppose you have a set of vectors, which is suppose the set of vectors is 10 raised to 3 or 10 raised to 5 vectors are with you. Say when you're working with a solid state physics, sometimes you have to deal with the reciprocal lattice vector for several crystals. You have a FCC crystal, you have a BCC crystal. In that cases, you recover a large number of vectors, because when you are talking about the interactions, then each atom is surrounded by various neighbors. So you have the neighbors, and once you find out the coordinate of the neighbors, you have to find out the magnitude of vectors for all atoms. In that case, you cannot do your calculator and you cannot do the calculation by hand calculation, where you have to write your program, and once the program is written, your computer will work with the same speed and same accuracy. And when you do with the manipulation, when you start doing by your method, it will take a lot of time. So our basic intention is that we have to write several codes, and we should write several programs which can instruct, and once the program is written, you can understand several properties or certain concepts of physics. You see, you can use computers in various branches: solid state physics, nuclear physics, quantum mechanics, statistical mechanics. There are various branches of physics where you can use this computer. And the duty of teacher is that to motivate you, to inspire you that how to write the codes. And now people are very, I mean, students are familiar for writing the codes in computers. Once you know the C language or a Fortran language, or you have a Python language, one can write the codes, and once you write the code, you can do lots of calculations and you can understand several concepts also. You know, sometimes when you are working in the laboratory also, you have to do several numerical calculations, you have to plot the graphs, you have to analyze the data, you have to find out the error analysis, and you have to compare the data, you have to monitor the data. In that all calculations, you require a computers. And once you have a computers, you can understand, you can monitor your experiment, and you can understand that whatever you are doing, your experiment which you are performing, the result which you are getting are correct or not correct, the trend of observation which you are observing, that will be, you know, controlled with the help of the computers. So these are the characteristics of the computers, and these computer characteristics we want to use while writing our codes, writing our program, writing our instruction. And this is very important, and this is basically, you know, this is the teacher's duty, a physics teacher, when it is not necessary to write all equations and derivation on the board, but you have to also explain the concept of the physics. At the same time, you have to explain and you have to relate with some phenomena which is occurring around you. You know, physics is a study of nature, and we study the law which controls this nature. And our computers will help you to understand several law which conducts the nature, which controls the nature. And that is why you know that when you see the roles of computers in physics education, these are the role which I would like to discuss. You can use computers for simulations, you can use computer for multimedia, you have a virtual reality, you have a telemetrics and computer based lab. I will briefly discuss each point because we have already have a large number of exercise which I have selected, where I would like to mention the role of simulation, multimedia, virtual reality, telemetrics, and computer-based labs. First of all, let me explain what do you mean by simulation. Simulation is basically a computer program. So, you know, basically these programs reproduce the behavior of a system using a mathematical model. Sometimes, you know, there are several experiments which you cannot perform in the laboratory, but you can reproduce the entire experiment with the help of computer program, and you will have a virtual reality of that experiment, and that particular experiment you can visualize. You see, this particular, let me explain in a simple manner that suppose you want to understand the interaction of electromagnetic wave with the matter, and then you have to understand the interaction with the molecules. So in that case is you have electromagnetic wave which carries energy of HU and having particular frequency. So you may have an infrared photon, you may have a microwave photon, you may have a gamma ray photon, and you would like to explain the interaction of a molecule with this radiation. So one can prepare a very good computer simulations where he can demonstrate that if you have a infrared radiation, when it interacts with the molecule, then the molecule will definitely interact with the infrared radiation provided it possesses a permanent dipole moment. If the molecule is not possessing a permanent dipole moment, then there is a possibility that there is no interaction of molecule with the radiation. You see, such type of phenomena which is occurring in nature can be understood with the help of computer simulations here. So I will show you some computer simulations when we start the computer simulations exercise. I would like to demonstrate that how one can use simulations in the laboratory, and one can write or one can demonstrate the simulations. See, the role of physics teacher is that you have to find out the exercises, the simulations exercises, because we have internet, there are YouTube, we have a Google, search engines are there, and now we have various uh, websites available where you can find out the simulations experiment, where you can show your students. You see, yes, for example, you take an experiment of E by milliseconds where you can determine the charge on the electron, and you can show a very important concept of a quantization of the charge. This particular experiment, when you start teaching in the classroom, it is better, first of all, you show a simulation of this experiment which is available on YouTube. You first demonstrate that particular experiment and show that how many forces are acting on the drop. There is a pictorial representation where you can show the gravitational force acting on the drop, or electric force acting on a drop, or a buoyancy is acting on a drop, and what is the resultant force and why drop is moving in a particular direction. And you can find out particular expressions of the finding the value of charge. But before you derive this expression, before you write the mathematical expression on the blackboard, my intention is that first of all, first you show a computer simulation, show a particular basic experiment, show a pictorial representation, demonstrate that effect, and then you start writing the equation. It will be very easy for a student to understand. And once it has, once the students are having a pictorial representation in mind, it will be very easy to understand the mathematics, the physics of that particular experiment. You see, this to investigate the phenomena in a laboratory, these simulations experiments are very, very useful. Sometimes there are certain experiments which you cannot materialize in the laboratory, but you can reproduce this experiment. Like virtual experiments you can develop on the computer screen and show the students. Like, sometimes you want to show the confinement of plasma or certain effect in plasma. These are the experiment, these particular phenomena of plasma physics, or even quantum mechanics problems. You want to show a harmonic oscillator, or you want to show a band structure of a solid, or you may want to show you various, let us say, growing planning model you want to explain in the classroom. There are several computational exercises are available where you can change the parameters. When you want to teach quantum mechanics, basically you are dealing with the potential problem. You can set the potential, you can change the type of potential, you can find out the eigenfunction, you can find out the eigenvalues, you can explain the physical concept of the wave function. Students are not clear what is a wave function, but there are several exercises available on YouTube. There are several experts available, and they have explained the phenomena of, like, tunneling phenomena, or a potential barrier, or a square well barrier, or a particle in a box. Or you can have some other problems in quantum mechanics, like scattering problems are there. You want to find out the scattering cross sections. All these calculations, all these whatever you do in the classroom, I think you can also add several exercise, and that will help your student to understand the concept. And once their concepts are clear, they will learn physics, and they will love physics. They will attend your classes very carefully, and you will also enjoy your class. Now we go for a multimedia. Multimedia, you are familiar with, physics is a branch which consisting the hardware and software. And right now I am communicating with you. You can see my presentation is because of this multimedia. So you see, the multimedia is an auxiliary support. When I go to the class, I require my multimedia. I require my hardware and software. I want to demonstrate several phenomena. I want to use my programming. I want to give my presentations. I want to my presentation should be very effective. So in that case, is you require a multimedia. So you can use your computer for multimedia. You see, the word multimedia means that module include variety of elements such as text, image, animation, simulations, and video clips. So friends, this is a very important part for computers, where you have to use the role of multimedia, where you require some part of the hardware as well as the software part. And so you will have to take a training for the hardware parts also. Similarly, you know that virtual reality. This virtual reality is very, very, very important in physics learning, because there are several problems which is dealing with three-dimension problems. And when you want to discuss problem in three dimension, you require several software which can demonstrate a three-dimensional problem. That will be a virtual reality which you can produce. And the main characteristic offered by virtual reality is the education is interactivity and the manipulations. Here you can see, my dear friend, the experiment which is not possible in the laboratory, which you cannot set up in the laboratory, which you can reproduce virtually in the classroom and demonstrate several experiments. As I told you earlier, that there are several experiments where you require a very sophisticated devices, and the cost for setting this experiment is very, very high. So in that case, you can have the virtual reality experiment. As far as let us take the example for confinement of plasma. You want to see the magnetic behavior of plasma. These things you can demonstrate by showing this virtual reality. It is very difficult to set up a plasma in the laboratory and you require a torus and a high strong magnetic field and confining the plasma is a very difficult task. But at the same time, there are several software available where which can produce a virtual plasma where you can confine plasma, show the properties of plasma, show the plasma parameter, show the density profile, show the characteristic of plasma virtually. And once you show a pictorial representation, then student will definitely understand. So this virtual reality is a wide scope where you can set up. This is the role of a teacher, and teacher has to develop the key. You see, you are finding from the Google search engine, but our intentions are that I would like to motivate our teachers, those who are present online, that you please set up certain experiment which can demonstrate virtually. As for example, by Millikan's experiments also. You set up that experiment in the laboratory, but one can prepare, one can set up that virtual experiment where you can, you see, with the help of your computer code, you change the potential difference between the two plates and show the drop movements, show the various forces acting on the drop, and you see how drop is moving, show the interaction of a drop with the electric field and buoyancy also. And students will definitely understand. And I have observed this effect because you see, when I go to my class, sometime I demonstrate this effect. It is, of course, you will ask me a question that because our semester based system, we do not get enough time to incorporate certain experiments while teaching. But somehow you people have to manage, and you have to include this experiment in the laboratory, in the classroom, and make your sessions very interactive. Friends, this is the telematics, and the role of telematics is very known to you. The role of internet, the role of Wikipedia, the role of Google are all familiar with you. Whenever you want something, some phenomena in Google, you can put a search engine where you understand. So this is known to you. But now the problem is that using this telematics principle, using the internet, you find out several software which are available, which is designed by certain eminent professors, several groups, several universities. There are online courses conducted. And now recently, Professor S.C. Verma is conducting an online course. So this is the use of telematics. He is using telematics, and he is giving a role of physics learning through experiments. You see, he has conducted many courses. There are many courses available. You can join that courses. You can understand the concept through telematics by participating in this course. And whatever the webinar which we are organizing is because of this telematics here. And friends, for the physics teachers, I would say that this FAT application based on Java interface programming language is a very useful software for physics teaching and physics learning. I strongly recommend all physics teachers that please use this FAT application based on Java's interface programming language model, where all the properties of, all the branch of physics they have covered. If you have nuclear physics or a solid state physics or a quantum mechanics or a computational physics or a theoretical physics, any branch, you will find out a proper software on the FAT applications. And there are Java-based applications are also there. There are several NPTEL lecture series are available, and there are many resources persons are available on internet, and you can interact with them. There is also a forum where you can be a member of the forum, and through this forum one can interact with the eminent persons of the country as well as the nations, or all over. I would say that national laboratory, and when you can work and you can perform, you can understand things. So dear friends, this telematics is an advantage for computers, and you can use this telematics. You can interact with various group in the nation. Suppose you want to study the high pressure behavior of solids, there is a particular groups available in our nation where you can interact and you can ask your questions. There are forums also, and there is a close interactions. So, my dear friend, this is the role of a teacher. So, when you go to the classroom, you people have to motivate your students, show that these are the software available. These are the link. You please provide the link of certain experiment. Show them that this particular link is available for this particular phenomena. Ask students to visit that particular website, and then you can have a close interaction in the laboratory session, because when you go to the laboratory you have enough time to interact with the students, and during the laboratory sessions you interact with the students, give them a certain list of websites, some Google and some search engines for the physics. Several links are available for physics students, and make them aware about this and motivate them to use computers for telematics. Dear friends, we have the finally I would like to say that you can use computers in the laboratory or not in the classroom, but it is very important concept, my dear friend. You people have to use your computers in the laboratory whenever you are performing an experiment. If you have an interfacing with the computers, whatever the results you are taking is that it's automatically recorded digitally, and you can monitor your monitor your experiment. You can visualize your data analysis, you can see a graphical analysis, you can see your error based analysis, and you can find out what is the status of your experiments. So when you use the computers in the laboratory, this is very important task. Your experiment should be interlinked with the computers, and once you know computers, and once you know programming, once you know coding, and once you know interfacing, you require some electronic circuit where you require to convert your analog data to the digital data. There are certain interfaces available now. There are several kits are available where you require an interfacing, and once you know this interfacing, you interface your experiment and perform your experiment, show the results on the monitor, and you can enjoy the learning of physics. This is the advantage where you can enjoy the learning of physics using computer based laboratory is essential. And I would like to request those physics teachers which are present today, please introduce your computers, and link your computers with several, not all the experiments, but certain experiments are definitely linked with the computer. Ask students to take the results and analyze the data, and take the analysis and perform this, find out the error analysis. This is a very important task, dear friend, and this is a very important that your computer should be your laboratory should be computer based. It is a very important thing. And friend, now finally I would like to say that this is the role of a physics teacher is very important, because a good physics teacher always combines his classroom teaching with computers to ensure that his students understand each and every concept of properly. And basically, nowadays the e-learning is very important, and this is an important task for a teacher now. So now during this lockdown period, if we can motivate our students for e-learning, it is a very important task. And I hope this particular webinar will definitely motivate our students for e-learning. And we want to promote this e-learning for physics students here. And the teacher's creativity is required to choose the appropriate learning model to use ICT-based learning multimedia kit in physics teachers and physics teaching. So this is the teacher's creativity. A physics teacher should be creative. That's a very important thing. You should be a creative. You have to design your own computational exercises. I said, okay, everything is available through internet, but you people also set up some computational exercise, develop some software, write some code, and then you use this code to demonstrate some phenomena of physics, because physics we study the nature, And once we want to study the nature, we study the laws of nature, we control the nature. So if we can demonstrate some phenomena in physics, I think it will be a great contribution to the society. But one thing I would like to say, my dear friend, no computers can replace the teacher, but it can surely replace the gap in understanding the concept taught by a teacher. So this is a very important task. And herewith I have to show you my several demonstration which I have got it from the internet, and certain demonstration I have developed by myself. So now I would like to show you the role of computational exercise, the role of multimedia, as well as the simulation experiment which I would like to demonstrate. So now, once again, I would like to describe this. My dear participant, I'm very sorry for the inconvenience caused by me. You can see right now that this is a particular software which demonstrates the effect of interaction of electromagnetic wave with the diatomic molecule. Here I have selected a heteronuclear diatomic molecule, and I incident infrared, you can see here, and you can see the interaction. And once it interacts, you can observe there is a change in vibrational energy. So I mean to say that when you incident the infrared, there is a change in vibrational energy. So this spectra which you will observe is basically known as infrared spectra, right? You can also apply microwave, and you can see once you apply the microwave, you will observe there is a change. But now you can see there is a change in rotational energy. So there is a change in rotational energy. These spectra which you observe because of the interaction with the electromagnetic wave is microwave spectra. These spectra are generally known as far infrared spectra. So basic intention of this exercise is that we can explain our student that how interaction takes place. You see, in the case of homonuclear molecule, if I take nitrogen, and now if I incident, let's say infrared, or even I incident a microwave, there is no interaction. So this homonuclear molecule does not interact with the infrared. It does not interact with the microwave. See, when we go to the class, we teach students, we teach them the dipole moment concept. So this is a small exercise, a small simulation which demonstrates that if a molecule is not having a permanent dipole moment, it will not interact with the infrared radiation or a microwave radiation. And using this particular concept, you can explain that our Earth atmosphere, majority of the molecules are nitrogen molecules, hydrogen molecules, or oxygen molecules. So these molecules are all time present, and we have the electromagnetic wave. So this our mobile communications and all other communications, we have electromagnetic waves. So if these molecules start interacting with such type of radiation, then the communication would not have been possible. So this is the way you can explain to a student that what is a molecular requirement for the interaction of electromagnetic wave is that permanent dipole moment. So this exercise demonstrates the concept of electromagnetic wave, and it also explains the interaction of electromagnetic wave with the diatomic molecule. And here you can show another concept that suppose if I take the ozone molecule, right, and if I incident ultraviolet light, you can see that at one time you will see that molecule will split, and you see this is the case where you can see now you can see this effect. If I return the molecule, you can see the condition. This is the case that when the ultraviolet photon hits the ozone molecule, it splits, and you have the depletion of ozone. I mean, this the concept of ozone layer you can explain. And so how ozone layer is protecting us from the ultraviolet radiation can we explain with the help of this small exercise. So dear friend, this type of exercise, once you start your class, you can do this simulation exercise for 5 to 6 minutes, and then you start your actual core teaching. This is not basically is a, I mean, I would say that this is basically, giving a support to the student to understand the concept, the particular phenomena. And now once you give this concept about this, you can start teaching in the classroom. I have another exercise which I would like to demonstrate. You can see I have selected a very interesting exercise from this FAT software. We people are teaching harmonic oscillator in the classroom. We write Schrodinger equation and we solve Schrodinger equation. We write mathematics, and students are, when they write the mathematics, they do not enjoy the subject here. So this exercise, which I would like to demonstrate here, that you can teach your student that, the participants, this is a exercise which demonstrate uh, the concept of a simple harmonic oscillator. Generally, we take class and we derive the expression of Schrodinger. We derive Schrodinger equation for a harmonic oscillator and find the solution of the Schrodinger equation. We get energy eigenvalues and eigenfunctions. But in fact, students are not enjoying. They do all exercise mathematically. So this is an exercise which I have selected from the open source FAT source. Uh, Here you can see that this is my potential. This potential is purely parabolic potential. You can see this is potential energy is equal to 1 upon half kx square, and which you can ask your student that you take any particular molecule, let us say HCl molecule, and give them the value of force constant k, and ask them to calculate the potential energy. And once they calculate the expression of potential energy, they can plot the potential energy curve, which is mentioned here. You see, this is the zero here. You can see this is the zero where we can set the potential. This is the minimum of potential energy. Now the problem is that you can set up your potential parameter. You can change your angular. This is an interactive software. So when you change the angular frequency, you can see the possible energy values, possible energy value which you can write now. When you can see this is the first ground. I mean, this is the ground state, which we refer as E0, whose energy, which I have mentioned, is 2.31 electron volt. And this is your zero. So this energy is referred as a 0 point energy, which we teach in the classroom. Here we have a chance where we get an opportunity where we can ask our student that, you see, that vibration never dies. So if you have a molecule and which you treat as a harmonic oscillator, and if you reduce the temperature, or if you keep that oscillator at a very low temperature, even at a low temperature, the vibration never dies. So this is the concept of 0 point energy you can give using this particular exercise. You can see these are the energy levels. And here, what you can explain your student is that if potential is purely harmonic, and if the oscillator is oscillating under the influence of this potential energy, you will see that energy levels, the possible energy levels, are equally spaced. So this is a very important exercise where you can ask your student to find out the energy eigenvalue, to study the possible energy levels. And now you can see here that when I click this energy level, and here you can see this below this is the wave function which you observe. So this is the nature of wave function. We ask our students to compute the wave function. So they compute the wave function for the ground state. But you see this nature of the wave function psi 0 xt. You can see that the Gaussian curve. At the same time, we can ask our student to, if you want to see the probability of finding the oscillator at the ground state, if you go for a probability density, so you can see that this is your psi square. So this is giving you the amplitude. And at this point, you can see that when your oscillator is in the ground state, the probability of finding the oscillator at x equal to 0, that is origin, is maximum. So this is the concept which we teach in the classroom. Of course, blackboard teaching is essential. You have to derive this expression. But after deriving this expression, if you demonstrate such exercise, and if you demonstrate the wave function nature, you demonstrate the probability density, then they will understand. You can see that they will get a clear picture about the probability density, the nature of the wave, because wave function is not measurable. See, but if you take the square of the wave function, that gives you some measurement. So you have measured, this is the probability. And now if you want to show your student that if you go for the first excited state and you see the nature of the wave function, what will be the nature of the wave function, that when molecule goes to the first excited state, you see the nature, there's a wave function for the first excited state, where you can see there is one node here, there is a 0 here. And if you go for its probability density, you can see that you will have a probability of finding the molecule near the two extreme points. But when you go for a ground state, you can notice that the probability of finding the oscillator at x equal to 0 at origin is maximum. But when you go for the higher quantum state, then you can see that the probability of finding the oscillator near the extreme point where the oscillator is terminating. You see, this is the final point. Here you can see this point where the probability is maximum. You see, this concept is very useful when you teach electronic spectra. Because when you teach the electronic spectra, you have to teach a Frank-Condon principle, where you have to explain them the electronic transitions. And when you explain the electronic transitions, this probability density distribution curve will be very useful to explain your students also. Dear friends, this is also a case that you can explain with this exercise the concept of harmonic oscillator. At the same time, if you can extend this exercise, because this is a free software where one can extend this exercise, this potential is purely parabolic. But at the same time, if potential is not purely parabolic and there is some deviation, or say there is some perturbation in the potential term, which we consider as an n-harmonicity. So when you take your oscillator as an n-harmonic oscillator and you solve the Schrodinger equation for an n-harmonic oscillator using the perturbation method, one can calculate the energy eigenvalues. And this particular part also I would like to demonstrate when after this exercise. I have asked my students to draw a potential energy curve when potential is not purely harmonic. So what you can do, that with this exercise, if time permits you, you can take the Morse potential. Ask student to take the Morse potential, select the potential for some particular molecule, give some potential parameters, ask the student to plot the potential energy curve using the Morse potential, and you can ask a student to compare both the potentials also. So this I would like to show you. But before you go to that exercise, you can change your potential and you can make a Coulombic potential. Suppose if I make a Coulombic potential here, and once the potential is Coulombic, and you can explain your Bohr model here, you can see that if I consider my particle mass is 1 me, you can see you can change the mass of the particle here. So here I consider an electron moving in a Coulombic potential, and this particular exercise demonstrates the possible values of energy possessed by the electron in a Coulombic potential. And you can see that this is the first energy level which is possible, which is the allowed energy level which you can mention here. So you can see that when you click it here, you can ask a student that you see this is the ground state and that is minus 13.6 electron volt. This is what Bohr model which we have calculated. So this particular exercise, once you take in the classroom, you can explain the Bohr atomic model. At the same time, you can also apply a Schrodinger equation for an hydrogen atom and set up the Schrodinger equation, solve the Schrodinger equations and find out the radial part of Schrodinger equation, the angular part, and one can draw the radial wave functions also. I don't have this computer slide. We are developing this exercise for an hydrogen atom to draw the radial wave functions. But I would like to show you the part which I discussed right now, that you can see. So my dear participant, as I said, that this is a small exercise which my undergraduate students has developed. This is an exercise which demonstrates the potential energy curve. Here we have a potential energy curve for an HCl molecule, which we have computed. And this we consider when molecule is purely harmonic. I mean, when potential is purely harmonic. But when you consider that the potential energy, which is not exactly parabolic, and there is some perturbation in the potential energy term. I mean to say that when molecule is vibrating, the displacement, internuclear displacement R, and the dipole moment, the relationship between the dipole moment and the internuclear displacement is not linearly related. So P is not directly proportional to R in that case when you have a harmonic oscillator. So you see there is a n-harmonicity. This n-harmonicity is treated as an electrical n-harmonicity. And when you introduce the electrical n-harmonicity here, you will observe that the potential energy curve is deviated. So this curve which you can see here right now is basically a curve which is known as an n-harmonic oscillator. So when you teach a student about the harmonic oscillator model and enharmonic oscillator model, this is our duty, that we have to explain what is a harmonic oscillator, what is an enharmonic oscillator. At the same time, we have to explain the role of a purely parabolic potential. This is the point where we introduce a concept of perturbation in potential energy. So using this concept, you can also explain the role of perturbation in potential energy term. And I would say that when you start teaching the perturbation theory, we can start what is perturbation, what is the role of perturbation, and how you calculate the perturbation. So before you start your derivation and writing the equation for finding the first order correction and energy. You do small exercise, do small work. I mean, give students the concept of perturbation, and then you start writing the equation, derive the equation, and you will enjoy your teaching. And student will also, they will be very interactive, and they will also understand the concept which is required to understand the quantum mechanics here. So with this exercise, now we will have to go for some other exercise which I have selected. Say, as I was talking about the role of simulations, so let me explain the simulation. So let us go for a Rutherford scattering. Uh, just give me 1 minute. This is the exercise where you teach Rutherford scattering, and we teach the atom model, Rutherford atom model. Here you can see this is basically a gold foil, and we have alpha particle source. You can see right now we have a small representation where alpha particles are bombarding on the gold foil, and you can see that this particular exercise demonstrates that most of the alpha particles are passing through the foil, or some of them are slightly deflected and they ultimately pass through the gold foil. This is particular situation which you cannot visualize in the laboratory, right? So this is known as a simulation exercise. Here you can see that the particles, these are alpha particles. These alpha particles are, you see, when they start interacting, majority of them are passing through. And you can see I can change the energy of the alpha particle, and you can see that when you change the energy of the alpha particle, how the interaction is affected. And you can see the trace of alpha particle. This is the trace of alpha particle. Look at the trace of the alpha particle. You can see some of the alpha particles are deflected with a small angle. But he noticed that some of very few alpha particles are deflected with a very large angle, which is greater than 19. I think they are reflected. You can see that on the screen. So this particular exercise, which you can see right now, is giving you an illustration about the scattering of an alpha particle and how Rutherford determined the structure of an atom. So this particular exercise, before you start deriving the Rutherford scattering, you first show this particular simulations to the class. Show them what is alpha particle, what is the structure of alpha particle, and you can explain the energy of the incident alpha particle, the gold foil. And once you give a brief introduction about the scattering, what is scattering angle, and this particular interaction, the student will understand what do you mean by scattering of alpha particle. And once you see that there are certain alpha particles which are scattered with a large angle, that means this alpha particle must have encountered a very heavy mass which is located inside the atom. So this particular small exercise is very useful, and this is the role of simulations. You see, this exercise, our intention is that the role of teacher is very important. So before you start teaching, you have to select some exercise, some software, present a software, show them, and then you start your core teaching. In some time, after the core teaching, if time permits you, show this particular exercise and give your concluding remark student will understand the concepts and they will enjoy the subjects here. I hope this particular exercise will give you the demonstration about the atom model also. Here you can see this particular exercise. That is also possibility that you can reset and again you can start this. So this is basically an exercise which you can see that there is a plum model also. You can demonstrate that is before the Rutherford there is the plum model and show how the plum model you can explain. So before Rutherford, Thomson assumed that atom is basically consisting a charged sphere, and inside the charged sphere, the electrons, the negative charge are embedded. So this phenomena, this particular model, you can explain with the help of small exercise. Here you can see these are the incident alpha particles. And this plum model, you can ask a student, it is similar to like our cake. You see, when we go to the market and purchase a cake, we can see there are cherry which is embedded. The cherries are electrons, So this particular model will explain that what was the Thomson model of an atom, then how this model was rectified, and Rutherford gave a Rutherford atom model. So before you start your class, if you show such type of exercise, this will support your core teaching. And this is a really important thing. I have one more exercise which I would like to demonstrate. So let me show this part. This is an exercise for the school teachers. I think there are some school teachers present. This is an exercise which explains the laws of refraction. You can see that we have an incident light, and here you can demonstrate that when a light enters from a thin medium to a thick medium, the ray, which is refracted ray, is moving towards the normal. So here you have a facility. The moment I change the refractive index of this medium number 2, look at this, I'm changing the refractive index. We can see the effect, look at that your ray, the refracted ray, is moving towards the normal. If I decrease the refractive index, you can see it is moving away from the normal. And if I make the same medium, look at this, and if the medium is uniform, light travels in a straight line. So this is a primary concept, but sometimes when we want to teach students that how light travels in a straight line, and nowadays you see we have a lecture series by Professor H.C. Verma, and if you have noticed, in his first lecture, he explained the same concept that light travels in a straight line, provided the medium is uniform. Moment the medium is non-uniform, then you can see the effect of diffractions here. The same way, you can ask your students to study the laws of reflection. You have your protector here. Keep your protector and ask students to measure the angle of incidence. You can ask your students to angle of refractions here. And once you know that, you can ask them to calculate the refractive index using this concept sine of I divided by sine of R. Here we have the intensity measurement. You can ask a student, look at the intensity of the refracted ray. And you can also ask that there is a partial reflections also. So you can ask that how you can measure the reflected intensity. You see it's only 0.98% here. The important feature is that you can explain the concept of total internal reflection. So if I change the medium, this medium, let us say this medium is glass, and if I change this medium, let us say air. So now you can have a phenomena, and you can explain the phenomena of a total internal reflection. You see, you have a light incident ray, and you can see that when I have the angle of incidence, and if this angle of incidence is less than this, there is a phenomena of a partial reflection and partial refraction. You can show that. If the angle of incidence is less than 30, we have a phenomena of reflection as well as refraction. But moment your angle of incidence is greater than, let's say, a critical angle, you will see there is only a reflection. This is the concept of total internal reflection. So before we start teaching, if we can demonstrate certain exercise in the classroom and then start the laws of reflection and refraction, it will be very useful for us, and we will make our session very interactive. It will be a very interactive session. Students will interact. They would like to enjoy your class. They will attend your class, and you will have a good interaction. There will be a question answer sessions, and this is really important thing. This is my intention. My intention of this particular webinar is that this is our role. We have to select several exercises. We have to find out the open source, or sometimes we have to develop our own exercises also there. There is one more exercise which I would like to demonstrate. Give me 2 minutes. This is an exercise which I would like to demonstrate for a simple pendulum, because there are some higher secondary teachers present online. So it is my duty that for them also, I have selected an exercise which demonstrate how to explain the role of gravity. So just give me 1 minute. So here you can see this is an exercise which gives a concept of simple pendulum. Here I have selected a pendulum. You can ask the student to measure the length of the pendulum with the scale, right? And then start doing the oscillations. You can have exercise it and ask the student to measure the periodic time. You have a stopwatch here, so you can start the stopwatch. You have a period trace, so you can trace the period and you can measure the periodic time. You can change the length of the pendulum here. Suppose you reset this, change the length of the pendulum, and once again you ask your student to measure the periodic time and compare, ask your student to compare the periodic time for both the different length. Then you can do the same exercise with a different mass. You can keep a smaller mass, ask the student to find the periodic time. You can have a greater mass, tell the students to do this. Similarly, you can also explain the concept of damping here. Here there is no friction, but the moment you introduce the friction, you can see that your oscillations are amplitude of the oscillation is decaying, and this decay is basically an exponential decay if you plot that graph. So this you can demonstrate this effect. At the same time, you can also explain it the same experiment. There are many things you can work out with this. Suppose you take the planet, suppose you perform this experiment on Jupiter. You see how it appears. how it appears. Similarly, the same experiment, suppose you ask a student and ask them to, if you perform the same experiment on moon, how you perform, and you can see the periodic time, how periodic time changes. At the same time, you can ask and give a planet X, ask the student to find out acceleration due to the gravity. So this small exercise will encourage students, it will motivate the student. And you see, you have to activate your students, because generally our experience is that the role of laboratory, you see, is basically not proper. Our students are not enjoying lab session. They are doing all experiment mechanically. So while giving such exercise, we can enhance the role of laboratory in physics education. Role of laboratory in physics education is very, very important. So without going into laboratory, we can encourage them. Once they are encouraged, when they, and once after that, when they come to the class, I mean, they will come to the laboratory sessions, they will perform experiment, not mechanically. They will perform experiment, they will do the calculations, they will compare the result, they will find out the percentage of error here. Suppose you ask your student that you find out acceleration with the gravity, then you find out deviation, percentage error. So there are certain exercise which you can ask a student, that you calculate the value of G. Now what is the percentage error? Teach them error analysis. So these are very important things. So with this exercise, we can motivate our students for the laboratory sessions. My intention of all these exercises is basically that how you can make your classroom teaching very effective. Not only classroom teaching, but your laboratory sessions also will be very, very interesting. Student will perform the experiment. They will interact with you. They will do calculations. They will ask some more exercise, and they will enjoy the sessions. I think we have more exercise. Uh, if time permits me, so can I take one more exercise right now?
Yes, you can take,
Hello?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
You
sir.
can take, sir.
Okay, I'll take one more exercise here. Fine. Just give me. So, my dear participant, we generally teach electricity and magnetism in the classroom. This is a small exercise which demonstrates the concept of the electric field. Here I have a 1 nanocoulomb charge. And now if I take a 1 nanocoulomb charge here, you can see the concept of field line here. So this is a small exercise which demonstrates the physics of point charge. You can explain the concept of electric field, you can explain the concept of potential, and you can explain the concept of potential difference. So suppose if you have a positive charge, and if you display this positive charge, how the field pattern is changing. And once you have the positive charge, you can go for measurement for the voltage. So you can see how your electric field is changing, because you see electric field is non-uniform. So as you move away from radially outward direction, which demonstrate that your electric field is decreases here. And moment you can put the values of voltage here, and you can see I have one more way. I can introduce a negative charge here, and you can see the effect. This is basically a concept of electric dipole here, that you can explain the role of what is electric dipole. We can explain the field line, how dipole moment is changing. You can change the distance between the two equal and unlike charges and show them how the electric field is changing. This is a small exercise which can motivate your students to understand the concept of electric field, divergence of electric field. Divergence of electric field you can also explain. Suppose if you take only the positive charge and here you show that you see that field is diverging here. So this is the point, and surrounding this point you see you have a diverging field. The concept of divergence of electric field can be explained with the help of these charge distributions. So if you want to explain the concept of a gradient of a potential or a divergence of electric field or a divergence of a vector field, this small exercise will help you to understand this. So with this, when you go to the classroom, our duty is that we have an internet facility. You have to search a proper exercises and then present to the class. This is the way, this is the role of a physics teacher. So the role of physics teacher is very important. We have to take care. We have to teach the concept and such that they can understand the subject. I hope I have described enough exercise for the simulations also. I think we can take questions answer sessions also. Is it
Yes, sir.
okay or fine? So let us have an interaction with the participants. We can take the questions answer sessions and I'll be
Yes,
happy
sir.
to answer the questions also. Fine.
So now I think Pandya sir has explained so many things, introduction and many simulations of harmonic oscillator, alpha particle simulation, simulation of bending light, pendulum, and many more. Ohm's law. So now what we will do is, if any participant have questions, uh, as the time permits, we can take only very few questions. So what you can do is you can just raise your thumb from right side, so that we can choose you and you can ask the question.
Sir, can you please stop sharing the screen?
Okay, sure. Yeah, fine.
Okay.
I will stop sharing the screen. Is it okay
So
now?
if
Okay.
anybody,
Yes, it
okay
is
sir,
okay.
if anybody has a question, you can just raise the thumb and we can ask you the question. Is there anybody?
Is there any questions from the educators? There are some physics educators present.
Yes. Uh, there is one question, I think, from the username is Vivo V3. I don't know.
Fine. Will you please
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear us?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Are you able to audio me?
Yes.
I,
You can
Yes.
ask
I
your
can.
question.
Yes.
Sir, first of all, I would like to thank you, sir. I am Shibham Sharma from Uttar Pradesh.
Correct. Fine.
Sir,
You're welcome.
Sir, my question is this: sir, can this application I use freely in my computer?
Yes. There are free software open source available, as for example FAT, which is known as Physics Educational Technology open source software, which you can find and
Sir,
you can use
sir,
it.
please, can you repeat it, sir?
Yeah, it is known as PHET, P-H-E-T, PHET, right?
Okay, sir.
Which stands for Physics Educational Technology. This is a free open source software, right? And
Okay, sir. Okay.
this is basically used for simulation for teachers, and this is specially designed for teachers. So,
Okay,
and it
sir.
is a
Okay.
free, so you can download it and you can use that.
Sir, one more question is this. Sir, I am a graduate. I am in graduation. So, sir, I just want to know that, sir, can some experiments of electronics are also available in this application?
Yes, you can do many exercise. There are, if you look at this open source, not only this open source, there are other sources of that is a Skylab, which is also an open source software that you can see, right?
Okay,
So
sir.
if you go
Okay,
for a
sir.
Skylab, that you know, you will get plenty of applications related to the semiconductor physics, even digital electronics and analog electronics, and there are many simulations exercise available. So you please better visit FAT software and select your exercise, and you can
Okay,
demonstrate in
okay.
the classroom freely. No problem at all. No problem.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, we have one more. Any question from the faculties or communicators?
Or any suggestion. I would like to take suggestion from the
Yes,
educators, those who are present. They can
yes, sir.
suggest
There
some
are many faculty
exercises,
members over here.
so they can suggest me, because there are some senior educators are also present on the line. So if they would like to recommend some applications or something, something which I would like to modify, so I will take the recommendations also. No problem. Because I saw some physics educators are
Yes.
there.
Sir,
And
one physics educator is there with us. Sir, you can ask the question.
please.
I suppose he's not there right now.
Mm,
Any more questions?
there are questions.
Yeah, please proceed and give me the question.
Just a minute. We have a question from Preetham Kayal.
Fine.
Hello, can you
Please
hear us?
proceed. Yes, please proceed. Please proceed.
Suppose he's not able to connect. Okay, please proceed. Pritam ji.
Yes,
Yes, Preetham.
Pritam, you can ask me. You can ask me questions.
I suppose he has some network problem. We can take
Fine.
question from another people.
No
Yes,
problem.
Any more questions?
yes, there are questions. Just a minute.
Even
We have Prakash Charan.
okay, fine. Let them ask. Let him ask. Let him ask the questions.
Hello, Prakash, can you hear us?
Prakash ji, is it audible? Okay, I suppose we can take the next question.
Yeah, fine. No problem. I have a time. No problem. You can take some more questions are
Yes,
there.
sir.
I can take the questions. No problem. Yes, please
Hello.
proceed.
Sir, just a minute. We are just looking forward towards the question. Okay. We have sir Mr. Anurag Kadve with us. He is a science educator and a physicist
Yeah.
as well. Sir, we would
Yeah,
like
thanks.
to have your questions and your suggestions.
Please. Anurag, you can ask me the questions.
I suppose he has some network error. Anurag ji,
Uh,
is it audible? I suppose, sir, there is some network error. What we can do is the best option. What we have as a feedback form. So we will have
uh,
questions of every participants in the
yeah,
feedback
but
forms.
any more suggestions that if there are students experts, if some students are there, so ask the
Okay, we
students,
will just.
they would like to share some idea, some
Yes, we can ask them, sir. Just
some remarks, if they can give them some remarks, so no problem.
Hello.
Hello.
There are no remarks. There are no remarks. It is really surprising. There should be some
Oh,
remarks.
hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, please say.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes,
it is
audible.
audible.
yes, yes.
I'm Gagan Nawal from Ahmedabad, and I'm an undergraduate student. And I
Fine.
want to ask you about the application known as Mathematica, in which
Fine.
we used to learn about SHO and all about the waves and
Correct.
its
Correct.
amplitude.
Correct.
So can we do this in what you have taught us in during these applications like
And that
PHET
is
and all?
possible.
Can
That
we?
yeah, you see, this is what I want to say. This is an open source software, so you can modify this exercise. See, there are two different type of software available. There are some softwares are there where only the organizers and the users can modify. But these free open software that FET applications, there is a provision. The teacher who is interacting and working with this particular model or exercise, one can modify that exercise. One can use Mathematica, even MATLAB also. You see, right now I'm a teacher and I'm also learning MATLAB at present. You can use MATLAB or Mathematica and basically, some computational physics. If you want to go for a computational physics, a quantum mechanics, or a condensed matter physics, you require the help of Mathematica, or you can go for MATLAB also.
So, sir, the application which you have used today, so can you just on the basis of frequency, if I change the frequency or amplitude or anything, so
Yes, it
can
is
this
possible.
application?
There are interactive sessions possible. But unfortunately, I don't have the facility of Mathematica right now because I'm confined at my residence. Even my MATLAB, because in fact, MATLAB operation is also not there. Uh, so because of that limitation, I cannot show you this operation on Mathematica, but it is possible. One can do it. One can.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, we have Divyang, one of the students. Can we have questions from you, Divyang?
Fine.
Uh, Hello.
Yes,
You are
Divyan.
audible.
Audible, please.
Yes, Divyan. Proceed.
Uh, Sir, you have talked about this MATLAB, Mathematica, and all kind of softwares. Can we
Yes.
use nowadays, as we all know that Python is getting popularity. So,
Yes,
as a
yes, yes. I do agree. I do agree with this, but Divyang, since I'm not familiar with Python language, that's why I have not mentioned in my presentation. But I know that you are an expert in Python. One can use Python because I remember that you gave a presentation at university, right? And using that Python also, it is possible. It is possible. But since I am not expert in Python, uh, I will not put my remarks. But one can do it. One can do it.
Okay.
So,
sir, more
Divang,
questions?
do you remember that I gave you an exercise for the enharmonic oscillator model, where you have reproduced the enharmonic oscillator potential energy curve using Python programming. Do you remember that particular exercise? I still remember. I did this exercise with the help of Excel, and then you said that no, sir, I will go for Python, and you have uh, obtain the result using Python. Do you remember, Divyang?
I suppose.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
fine. Anything, any other questions or remarks? Then you may conclude. If there is no questions or remark, you may conclude.
Yes, sir. There are questions. We have
Please.
one question from Vidyajar Avati, sir.
Okay, fine. Please.
Sir, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello, can you
Yes,
hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Sir.
Okay, myself Vidyadhar Rauti. I am from Shirur district, Pune, Maharashtra.
Yes, sir.
My question is now under this situation, coronavirus situation,
Correct.
we are not able to conduct classes, but we are also trying with Zoom app. We are conducting little bit classes in our
Correct.
my home
Correct.
also. Now
Correct.
the major question is regarding the assessment.
Correct.
Is there any tool, or I think as a physics teacher we have to find some solution how to conduct online examination or online evaluation of students, so that we can overcome such situations. It may come in future, or we should have some routine practice of conducting online exam. So can you guide on this regard, sir, please?
Sir, in fact, I'm not expert, but there are certain softwares available in the market. As far as my institute is concerned, we have our computer department. They have developed a major program where we can ask our students to appear online, and we have taken this exercise. And we have examined for the small scale class, not for the first year BSc or the major classes, but we have asked our BSc students to appear online test, and we have in fact the computer programs available, and we can go for online verification. Online assessment is possible, but it should be MCQ type questions, not subjective type. If you have an objective questions like all competitive examination like JRE, GMAT, TOEFL, GATE examination, such pattern, if you set the question paper, then it is possible. Then it is possible to evaluate the students online. So it is possible. We are doing. Our computer department is well equipped, and they are doing this. It's possible. It is possible. It is possible.
Okay, thank you. One more question, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my request to all participants that as you have explained about PhET software,
correct.
So we can also go through it. And my request to other participants also, if they know some other softwares which are easily possible to use for physics teachers or even students, that also can be made available to others. It will be better, I think.
I have suggested that Skylab. No, this is also an open source software, and this is specially for numerical analysis and mathematical physics and scientific visualizations. So if you
Okay.
want to go for a simulations and numerical analysis, especially mathematical physics part,
Yeah.
I would like to recommend this open source software that is Skylab. You please go through that.
Okay, sir.
It's a very important. And
Okay.
there is also one more thing, one more I would like to say, as you asked me the questions on the benefit of the participants. There are free software available like Quantum Espresso, which is available. And right now we have this period. So I request all the participants that if you want to go for, say, further study in physics and you want to go for, say, your career in physics, I would like to recommend this Quantum Espresso free software. You please start learning this Espresso. It is. You know, if you start reading, everything is mentioned clearly, and this particular software is free, and you will enjoy. I'm in fact I'm not expert in Quantum Espresso. I am a solid state physics student and doing some research activity. Even this Vista is also available. Solar is also available. So these are the open source physics software which you people can go through this. These are the software.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
हेलो
Yes, please.
सर मेरा नाम मीत है और मैं HNG यूनिवर्सिटी से बिलोंग करता हूँ।
जी जी जी।
जैसे जैसे आपने बताया जो ओपन सोर्स एप्लीकेशन के जिसके द्वारा हम समझ सकते हैं कि प्रैक्टिकल वे में कि कोई भी थियरी या कोई भी क्वेश्चन हम प्रैक्टिकल वे में कैसे देख सकते हैं उसे।
जी
पर
ठीक है।
अगर हम हमारे डेली लाइफ में जो जो घटनाएं बनती है, क्योंकि फिजिक्स का मतलब ही यही है कि भौतिक जगत में हो रही घटनाओं को सब कैलकुलेट करना, सही है? तो डेली लाइफ में जो जो घटनाएं होती है तो उससे हम क्वेश्चन रिलेट नहीं कर सकते?
Yeah, there are also some you know, websites available, right? There are some search engines for the physics search engines, and if you go for that search engines and you see there are daily routine phenomena, like, you know, why sky is blue. You see such type of questions.
Yeah, right.
Okay, what is greenhouse effect? And some basic concepts in physics which, you know, which you are every day you are dealing. This is available. So you have to find out a proper search engine. Use a search engine and find out the application. It is available. See, now you see this in the facility of this internet. So we have got a library at your house now. There is no, I mean, of course, you see, one cannot replace the role of a library. But this internet, using this internet facility, you can use a search engine and spare some time. You will find out some websites, some links are there, which I would like to. I have certain list of website. I will ask the organizer to. They will send you the mail where you can see. Right now, I don't remember it, but I have a list of certain websites available where you can see this such type of this everyday experience. So this you can explore. This you can explore. I will send you the list. I will send
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, we have one, I think one faculty member.
Please proceed. Please.
Dr. Keval Gadani.
Correct.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please proceed.
Just a minute.
Yes, Cable.
Just a minute, sir. There is some problem with the audio.
Okay, fine.
Sir, I suppose the rest questions we can take up with the Google form.
Just a minute, Harshal.
I don't mind. You see, that depends upon you. You see, because I'm at my residence. And
Just a minute, sir. We can take last question from this faculty.
No problem.
Hello.
Yes, please. Yes.
Yes, Keval, sir. We can speak, sir.
Okay. First of all, sir, good morning, and it was nice interaction with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, myself, Dr. Keval Gadani. Right now, I am working as an assistant professor in IITE, Teacher Education University, Gandhinagar.
Correct.
You know very well.
I know.
So, sir, actually, I got the answer, but again, I would like to about the the mathematical physics.
Okay.
One paper.
Correct.
So how means whenever we teach the mathematical physics, so how we can more interactive with the student, because mostly what happen when we teach mathematical physics, the student take just like a maths, but it's not maths, it is the mathematical physics. So means we use the maths in physics.
See,
so yes, sir, please.
You see, in fact, I discussed this matter. You know, when you start basically a quantum mechanics is when you are dealing with mathematical physics, you solve Schrodinger equation, differential equations also. So basically,
yes,
in mathematical physics, when you start with this, so you have to explain the role of a differential equations. What are differential equation? How can you solve differential equation? What are the different type of differential equation? What are the various forms available? These exercises are available. I have found this exercise. You see, I use Skylab, where there are several exercises available. And if you go for Skylab and if you see, if you start to explore that, you will see several exercises dealing with analysis, numeric analysis, how to explain integration or differentiation. You can explain numerical integration, differentiation, differential equations. There are various methods to solve differential equations, and some special functions in physics, like Bessel functions are there, Newman functions are there. So you know how to teach Newman function in the classroom, or a Bessel functions or ordinary function, a special, I say spherical Bessel functions. These methods are given. They have mentioned that if you want to teach, say, the Bessel functions, say J0 of x, right? How do you explain in the classroom? So these recipes are given there. And even if you refer certain textbook of mathematical physics also, you see what we people are doing.
Yes, sir.
Generally, we do not solve the exercise problem. That is our. So when my advice is that after completing the entire chapter, it is our duty to take the questions, solve the numerical problem which is asked after the chapter. And in that particular, you will get many problems which will help you to understand mathematical physics problems.
Okay. And sir, one more question. Suppose if in mathematical physics, suppose we derive one equation and one theory, we solve the one equation, we solve the theory, and after final we get some final equation, and means as a teacher we have a duty to this equation which where we use in particularly in physics.
Yeah, that's correct. You see, when you are a mathematical physics teacher, that is our, we have an experience that when we write an equation, we always ask them that this equation is similar to what? What does equation represent?
Yes.
This is our duty. See, when you write a Schrodinger wave equation, we
Yes, sir.
always write that what is this equation indicates, what it represents. This equation is similar to which equation, that wave equation which you study in mechanics class. So these are very important things. You have to give the analogy. You have to relate.
Yes, sir.
That is our duty. This
Yes,
is the
yes.
role of a physics teacher. This is
Yes,
the
sir.
role of a physics.
Actually, sir, I started my academic career from last 6 months. So,
Okay.
as an assistant professor.
Right.
So it's I started my academic journey. So each and every part of or each and every subject, it is very important for me. So I think it's my pleasure to join this lecture series, and I will get the maximum. I will get the maximum benefit. Okay, sir, and definitely I will use the Skylab for.
Yeah, fine.
Thank you, Keval sir. I think now, due to the time, we should move further.
Fine. So, Chintan, before you conclude,
yes, sir,
I would say that I'm very sorry for the inconvenience caused by me if there had some problem with the
No,
video
sir.
sharing. In fact, there was some problem with my computer, and I regret for that. And please excuse me for the inconvenience caused from my side. Thank you very much.
No
No, sir.
problem,
There is a technical issues, and we can always overcome that. Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Kuldeep for the vote of thanks, and then we'll end the session.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, it is audible.
A big thank you, sir, for letting us know role of computers in physics education. The way you explain the interaction of diatomic molecules, concept of harmonic motion, Rutherford scattering, and finally you explained how to enhance interest of student in laboratory. So it was very interactive, sir. And we will share the link of this software to all the participants so they can access.
I will provide you the list also and send the email to everybody.
On behalf of all the participants and organizers, I once again express my gratitude, giving us wide idea of how physics can be more interactive, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you so much. And there is one more request from the organizers, that next time when you join this session, then you must please keep your username as which is there in the registration, so that we can get the idea about your name and your details. Please keep that thing in mind. That's it, I think. Harshal?
Yes, sir. It was really a nice session. And as Chintan said, we request every one of you who has kept the names such like Vivo V3 or Galaxy J7 as their name in the Zoom, please keep your name along with the name of the initial of your father. For example, my name is Harshal Sangvi. So I need to keep my name as Harshal A. Sangvi, so that it would be very feasible for us to make your certificates. I again request every one of you from tomorrow, please keep your name as mentioned.
Thank you so much, sir.
Everyone enjoyed. I suppose everyone enjoyed. Thank you so much, sir, for connecting with us, and we will hope that we could continue this further session of your role of computers in physics teaching in the upcoming webinar.
You please take the feedback from the participants. So
yes, sir.
Sure, sir. We will take the feedback from the participants. It is request to every participant to please fill up the feedback form that we will circulate through an email, so that it would be very good for us to evaluate and get back to your question. I suppose that's all for the meeting for today, sir. And thank you so much for delivering your lecture and giving your expertise in role of computers in physics teaching. I once again thank from every organizers. Thank you so much, sir.
thank you. And sorry for the inconvenience caused from my side. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.